So there's one thing I'm going to share with you here that it's a small shift in how you have conversations with prospective clients. And if you make this shift, it's going to help you get more people to say yes to working with you. So if you're sick and tired of people deliberating, thinking about it, not sure, stay tuned over the next couple minutes because I'm going to share this one shift. Hey guys, what's going on? Yuri Elkaim here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. Hope you're doing well. I'm just looking at myself in the camera here. My eyes look like I just got out of a boxing match. My allergies are just doing their thing. Anyways, it's not about me, it's about you. So here's one thing I want you to think about and to start reading in your conversations. Okay, so let's just paint the scenario. You're having a conversation with someone over the phone, on Zoom, or in person if you're in brick and mortar. And there are two ducks in my pool right now. I feel like a squirrel. Anyways, so you're speaking with someone and this person booked a call with you, like a discovery call, because they're genuinely interested in working with you because you have a solution to a frustration they're dealing with, right? Weight gain, health issues, whatever it is. And so you get to the end and you talk about, okay, well, here's the next step to getting started. It's priced in this fashion. And the person says, well, this sounds great. I just want some time to think about it. I'm not the type of person who makes decisions on the spot. ... Okay. So please understand, and I have a lot of other videos and trainings on sales conversations because it really is a very important skill to develop. It's something I spend a lot of time with our clients on because it's not about I don't even like using the word closing, closer. It's not closing. It's serving, right? And our whole process, we call it coach to close. So I guess close is in there, but the whole idea, for me, coaching and selling are one and the same thing because really what it is, it's about getting to the truth. A great coach is able to kind of peel back the layers and get to the truth of what's really happening with their clients. And in a quote unquote sales conversation, i.e. a discovery call with a potential client, it's very similar. And where I think a lot of us fall short, and I would include myself in this for a very, very long time, is that our biggest fear is being disliked by other people. So what happens there is that we tend to hold back and not lean in and ask some of the more difficult questions that are required to get to the truth. So the one shift I want you to really think about and make is not necessarily in what you say, but it's how you interpret what other people are telling you. So if someone is you're this is a perfect fit client, they've said they want to work with you, and then they give you I need to think about it or whatever else. Always understand that the main objection that's never the main objection. It's too expensive. I can't afford it. ... Those are not the real objections. The real objection fundamentally is that they don't believe that your solution will work for them. Or they really don't want what it is they say they want. That's it. Because let's say you're charging $5,000 for an amazing transformational program because you're awesome, right? And you're great at what you do. And then your prospect is it's a little bit more than I want to spend. I'm going to look for other options. That's maybe not what they say to you, but that's what they're thinking, right? Remember this. If their kids were kidnapped and the ransom was $5,000, do you think they would come up with the money? The answer is, I've never met a parent who would say no. Actually, you know what? I'm not too sure about that one guy, that one kid of ours. Everyone's going to say yes. So you'd come up with $5,000 if your kids were kidnapped, right? But you won't do it in this case. What's the difference? And you don't have to necessarily ask that question, although it's a very powerful reframe. But what I want you to understand is that what people are telling you is not the truth. And sometimes what they're telling themselves is not the truth. At the end of the day, the only thing that holds us back is fear. And the only thing that allows us to move forward is courage. That's it. in life, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is 100% certain. So what allows one person to move forward in the same situation versus someone else who's paralyzed by fear? Well, part of it is belief in self. I believe I can figure this out. I believe I can be successful when I put my mind to something. And I think that belief about self is very important because it gives you courage to step into the unknown. And what everyone is looking for, I shouldn't say everyone, but a vast majority of the human population is looking for 100% certainty before they jump in the water. It's like they're dipping their toe in the pool with the expectation that they're going to be able to swim. And that's not how it works. In order to swim, i.e. get the result, you have to go into the pool. And you're not necessarily going to know how to do the thing you want to do until you're doing it. So a lot of people have like the cart before the horse or horse before the cart. It's all backwards, right? Like you're not going to have certainty until you do the thing you want, right? You commit first and figure things out later. But the challenge is it's scary, right? What if this doesn't work out? What if I fail? What if I get scammed? There's all this stuff, right? And if you understand that fear is the number one reason someone's not going to move forward, okay, as an umbrella, then we start to look at, okay, well, let's look at what's happening underneath that fear, okay? So let's say someone's, you've got $5,000, you have a health coaching program, a weight loss transformation program that's $5,000, and you know it's amazing. The person's like, this would be great. I need to think about it. Okay, so they need to think about it. What exactly do you think they're going to think about? Do you think they're going to go home and clear their calendar and they're going to sit in their hammock or on their favorite chair and think to themselves, man, like they're going to be thinking to themselves for the next several days or a week? No. What's going to happen is you get off the phone and they're going to go right back into the rush of life. They're not going to sit down and digest. They're going to pick up their phone. They're going to go to Instagram. They're going to get swept up by the busyness of life. They have to pick the kids up at school, make dinner, go work out, something, okay? None of us create space in our lives for the most part. I mean, I shouldn't say none of us, but like for the most part, when it's like, I need a week to think about it. No, you don't. You need more clarity. You don't need more time. In order to make a decision, we're not making a rash decision. We're making an informed decision. And all the information you need is from you, right? Like the coach. So while you're on the phone with them, let's talk about what is missing in order for you to get started today. And this is so this is for me, this is when the real conversation starts, right? So there's the pleasantries, the first 30 minutes or so of the call, and then you introduce pricing. Here's what it costs to get started. And then the real conversation starts. So I'm going to have a little sip of my espresso here. So the real conversation starts in the close. It's often been said that selling is emotional, closing is logical. I'm not a huge fan of getting people riled up and emotionally like on fire, and they're making these rash impulse decisions. That's not what this is about. This is helping somebody logically walk through why working with you is the best possible decision for them. Because the goal of, in this context, the goal of a quote unquote sale of your job is to help the client, prospective client, do what's best for them. Now, before you get to this point, you will have mutually decided if it makes sense for them to work with you. And if not, you would have told them earlier, so you don't even get to pricing. But anytime you talk about pricing, you're only speaking with someone you know you can help and you would like to work with, and they feel the same. So at this point of the conversation, it is your duty, it is your moral obligation to become very, very good at having the hard conversation, because if you let them go, you let them down, because what happens is when you leave the conversation, right, when they hang up the phone, get off Zoom, their level of certainty, and I'm not even going to use the word excitement, okay, because that's the wrong word, but their level of certainty that this is the right solution for them is only going to go down. And the reason for that is because they're going to have people chirping in their head. They're going to have time to invent stories in their own mind. And even if you have a follow-up call the next day, a week later, whatever, the longer, like, time kills all deals. And you have to believe this. Like, we've been doing this for 7 years, and we have spoken with tens of thousands of health professionals and coaches. We have worked with more than 1,200 of them, which means that 80+% of them who have said, I want your help, don't work with us. And not all the time are they the right fit, but I'll tell you this with a very, very high degree of certainty. 99% in is closer to no than it is to yes. And if you buy someone's story about, I need to get stuff lined up, I need to think about it, run this by, what, all of that comes down to eventually the person second guessing themselves. Again, fear outweighing courage. And they send you the polite email saying, hey, thank you so much for your time today. But after thinking about it or talking about it or whatever, I've decided to go a different route. We get that, not a lot, but we get it enough. And I'm sure you have as well. And what they're saying is, I'm afraid. Okay? Remember, the context here is this is someone who has said, this is exactly what I'm looking for. They're not saying, well, like, I don't know, I think there's better options out there. No, they're fully sold on your solution. And then they're saying, I've decided to go another route, i.e., I'm finding something cheaper that's not going to work, but I'm going to do that anyways because it's safer. And if you understand that what most people are telling you is not the truth, then you can stop accepting it, because it isn't the truth, right? If this were everything, if you're speaking with the prospects, if this were everything they were looking for, why wouldn't they get started? They're not getting started because something's missing, right? And you have to do your best to identify what that is. Is it the payments? Is it the belief in themselves? Is it the belief in your system, your solution? Is it timing? Is it not a now thing? Is it a later thing? Is it like, you have to identify the one main thing, because if that one thing is not verbalized and spoken, it will be the thing that kills the deal. So even if you are going to be booking a follow-up, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, at some point you have to respect other people's decision-making process, right? But don't buy the nonsense of, I'm the type of person that takes 7 days. That's bullshit. You're the type of person who takes 7 days to make decisions, which is exactly why you're in this situation in the first place. Do you want to keep telling that story, or do you want to change it? Right? Like, these are things that you can challenge people with in a loving way, but you're coming from a place of, don't buy your bullshit story because it's not serving you. Right? And again, it's hard to say stuff like that. It's hard to ask questions like this, because what if the person gets offended? What if they say, I don't like that, I don't like you? We get, like that dagger to the heart. But it's not about us. It's about serving this individual, and serving people very often comes from a place of tough love. In my case, the best love is tough love in terms of my clients. Like, I don't buy any of my client stories. Oh, it's been a hard month, again, like, obviously there's life situations that come up. I'm not going to deny that and not have compassion around that. But we all have to take responsibility for our lives, and we have to be aware of the stories we're telling ourselves, and we can either choose to believe them or not. Right? I was speaking with actually, in the mastermind that I'm a part of, in the last 2 conversations I've had, 2 separate meetings we had. Last one was one of my buddies has a very successful coaching company. They certify life coaches, and he was talking about some limiting beliefs he had around not being a published author and knowing who he is. They're doing They're doing $1.2 million a month, right? And he's like, I think our conversions could be higher. And I said, can I just challenge you on that? Because no one knows who any of us are, right? I'm a New York Times bestselling author. I've been on Dr. Oz, The Doctors, all over the media. And 95% of people we speak with have never heard of me. And it doesn't matter. It's all bullshit anyways, right? It's all nonsense. All that matters is that the person feels understood, that they feel something that makes sense with them, it resonates with them, and then you have a solution to their problem. So I challenged him on that. And I said, listen, like 95% of our business is coming from people who have never heard of me. They never knew I existed. Yeah. And there's obviously a few people that come through that have seen my stuff in the past, and that's great. But don't buy the story, because the story is going to hold you back. I have another friend of mine runs a $500,000 a month coaching business. And he was sharing this story about like, yeah, the last 6 months have been tough, inflation, and we're getting this sense in the marketplace that people are less willing to spend on coaching. And I'm like, what? Where is this data coming from other than your belief around this worldview you have? And I said, can I challenge you on this? Because we've had some of our best months in the last couple of months. Same market relatively. And I encourage you to challenge anyone who is telling stories that are not supporting themselves, because we're all telling a story about why we can't do something, right? And it's just a matter of, are you going to buy their story about why they can't do it? Or are they going to buy your story about why they finally can? So the one shift I want you to really take from this video here is being able to read between the lines, is understanding when someone says something, what are they really saying? And being able to address that. Really being able to address that. So I'll just finish with one last example. So a person says, I'm the sole decision maker. There's no one else I need to speak with. You get to the end of the call and they're like, I actually have to run this by my whatever, my dog, my husband, my business partner, my higher power. At the beginning of the call, they told you they're the sole decision maker. Then they tell you, actually, I know I said I was the sole decision maker, but this is a bigger investment than I thought. Okay, so that's what they're telling you. What is the main concern? What is the one thing that, at what level would that not be an issue? So let's just work through this logically. So let's say your program is $5,000. Okay, if this were $100, would you have to run this by whoever? No. What's the difference? Well, it's more expensive. Okay. At what level, though, does it not make sense to even have to run it by this other individual? Would you have to run it by them at $500 or at $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000? And you can, again, the key is conversions come from conversations. And as long as you can keep the person in a dialogue, you can get to the truth. We recently, and I always have a tremendous amount of respect for anyone who is willing to have this conversation, like the prospects, like not just like the enrollment person, right? Because what a lot of us do is we'll shut down and say, I need to think about it. And that is the easy way out. But where I have a tremendous amount of respect is where someone, the prospect, is willing to stay in that situation and verbalize what they're going through in their head. That's for me, it's tremendous. It shows a tremendous amount of courage and character. And it's important because they booked a call to you in the first place to get a solution to something they've been struggling with. And for someone to say, I'm going to go think about it, is a cop-out. It's a safe way of protecting themselves out of a difficult conversation, out of doing something they know is in their best interest, but they're afraid. And you have to do what you can to have that honest conversation with them. And it's not about pressure. Like, please do not take my pressure or my passion for helping you with pressure. I'm not trying to pressure you here. I'm trying to help you make the best decision for you. And I know, having done this for so long, and again, I'm speaking as if I were you here, that if we get off the phone, statistically speaking, this is probably not going to happen. And the reason for that, and I would hate for this to happen, but this is usually what happens, is when we get off the phone here, you're going to go about your life, you're going to go about your day, and you're going to have a certain amount of time to think about stuff. And in that time, there's going to be doubts. There's going to be stories that are invented in your mind. There are going to be people who are saying stuff to you that have zero context about our conversation. And do you think any of that is going to make you more certain or less certain about moving forward with this? Less certain. So like, these are the conversations you have to have. And if the person is still like, no, like I get that, but I'm different. No, you're not, right? Most people are the same. And there's a very small percentage of people who like, yeah, I'm in, I'll call you back tomorrow and I'll be in. Not everyone's like that. Some people are like, I'm 100% in, and then you have a follow-up the next day and they don't show up. It's very sad how many adults have such low integrity. And it's because they're afraid of having honest conversations. So I wanted to share this with you because I think it is one of the most important skills you can build. This all falls under the umbrella of communication, right? We talk about the important skills of building as a leader, of like having hard conversations, of being a better communicator. It all falls within this. So anyways, I hope this helps you guys out. If you found this helpful, drop me a comment below. If you're watching this on the YouTubes, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Tons of other videos to help you grow an amazing business in the health space online. I'm going to go kick these ducks out of my pool before they pollute our pool with algae. And I hope you have an amazing day. Ciao.